Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are back once again and thrilled to be with you for another episode of Pickup Lines presented by Gamez Law Firm, Integrity Roofing and Siding, and the Sabinal Group. We are live once again inside the all-electric Lexus RZ 450E, courtesy of
This
North
is really
Park.
nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Courtesy of North Park Lexus of San Antonio and North Park Lexus at Dominion. I'll make sure they know that you said that.
Is it suede?
So they call it palomino. It's like a faux suede.
I love it.
So if you are clumsy or you spill something,
It's not going to get destroyed.
No, it's
There
not going
you
to
go.
get destroyed. So.
Right.
Palomino, by the way, is what they call it. But it's great to see you.
Good to see you.
You're a busy man. You quite literally just came out of a meeting just a little while ago. And you're the type of person, respectfully, when I see you, sometimes I think to myself, I've clearly underachieved in my life. I should have done more.
No.
Or I don't do enough. Or as you said a moment ago, you don't say no as much as you should.
I need to learn how to say no. I'm on like 7 boards while building a new bar and running the other bar and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah.
Quite literally building a new bar starting in about 48 hours from now.
Yeah. Well, so we broke ground about a month ago.
Okay.
And so now the site's cleaned up and presentable enough to have some guests out there. We're having a groundbreaking ceremony tomorrow. So, yeah.
Okay, let's forget 48 hours. It's 24 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. So tomorrow, about 27 hours from now, you said
you
at
go.
4 o'clock tomorrow. It's Elsewhere 2.
Elsewhere 2.
As in
TOO.
TOO.
Yes.
Which obviously is the sequel or the sister property now of the spectacular, successful property that you've had downtown for about, 4 years now?
It'll be 5 in January, yeah.
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 You've owned a lot of different concepts and bars and restaurants and stuff like that. But before we get to all of that, I want to go backwards a little bit. I know you're a Central Catholic button.
Yes, sir.
Was it class of 03?
03, yeah.
So you're still very young.
Just turned 40 this year, so not that young, but yeah.
There is life after 40, by the way.
Fair enough.
I
don't feel 40. That's for sure.
Well, I don't feel, I'm knocking closer to 50 and I don't feel it. So 40 wasn't a big deal to you when that number came?
No. I feel like a 40-year-old child, so it's fine.
Good for you. Good for you. It's a very successful 40-year-old child. When you were at Central Catholic, roaming the halls in, 2001, 2, 3, running bars, restaurants, what did Terrin Fuhrmann want to be when he was navigating his way through Central Catholic?
So my senior year, against the best wishes of my mother, I worked at a nightclub. And I remember the first night I walked in there, I was like, this is awesome. I loved the energy. I loved the people. I loved everything about it. And so
you weren't old enough to drink though.
I wasn't
legally.
And I didn't, thank God I didn't drink, and I was already a troublemaker. Coach Ibarra, I had to be his assistant for like 3 periods.
Really?
Because, he just had to keep his eye on me. So thank God I did not drink in high school, because I would have gotten in even more trouble. So,
right.
Yeah.
So is this club that you went to still around?
It's not.
Okay.
It was club level, over off of in the medical center.
But you went in, you obviously saw something or something connected, because I know you worked at the wash tub at one point.
I did.
As a teenager.
Yeah.
Scrubbing
Look
down
at you
cars
doing your
and everything.
research.
Well,
I love it,
I
man.
gotta do a little bit. But did you, before you walked into that club that night, did you have a career path, or when I grow up, I want to be this or that?
I mean, the entrepreneurial spirit is ingrained in my family. My dad was an entrepreneur. My mom's an entrepreneur. So, I wanted to be, and they're a people pleaser, people person.
Yes.
So, in the hospitality industry. So, like I said, when I walked in, I was like, man, this is talking to me.
But what was it? There's lights and it's music and it's loud and there's people watching. What was it about it?
Kind of the controlled chaos, I guess, of all of those things going on. But you've got all these people working for the goal of creating this experience for the customers,
right? And
taking care of them. So, and just a lot of moving parts.
Okay, so then what was the early stages from realizing I like this, there's something there, I might want to pursue this, to actually making it happen and putting your first concept on paper?
So again, I worked in high school doing that, and then I went to college. Again, was just I'm not a typical learner, as one would say. Like this school. I love learning now, and I wish I had taken it more seriously. But I did not. I went to college, just goofed off the whole time.
Yeah.
My mom was like, we're wasting all this money. What are we doing? So I came back to San Antonio and started bartending or bar backing, and then bartending, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I worked downtown at Suede for Alex Cabrera, another Central boy.
Sure.
And I a buddy of mine was in the custom home building industry and was like, "Hey, I got all this extra money. You want to open a bar with me?" I said, "Okay."
Oh,
So we opened a back porch in Stone Oak
Yeah.
in 2007, 2006.
okay.
And it was wildly successful from opening night, just off to the races. And yeah, and then I sold my shares about a year later, and then that just kind of steamrolled into everything that I've done since then.
You were so young. I mean, you're still young. Like I said,
I
you were so young.
I was the youngest bar owner at the time when I opened it. I was like 23, 24.
And, I mean, let's face it, there are plenty of bars and establishments, watering holes, whatever you want to call them around San Antonio, around the area. You probably have a much better handle on the industry now.
Oh, yeah.
But especially post-COVID and getting through that and the ups and downs of the economy, what's that secret sauce? What does it take to... You can have the greatest idea on paper,
right?
But to make it brick and mortar and to make it sustain, what is it?
I'm the culmination of my failures. So, not that, the nightclubs and things that I owned were failures, because they weren't. They were very wildly successful.
Right.
But as I've gotten older, my tastes have changed as far as going out. So I had written the business plan for what eventually would turn into Elsewhere about a year or two before I had sold my last nightclub.
Right.
And so again, to your question, Elsewhere is that concept that is sustainable, that is scalable. It's not a flash in the pan like a nightclub that you're hustling bottle service and there's a shelf life of it and DJs and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So Elsewhere's inclusive and it's sustainable. There's you got food, you got it's a different kind of vibe than the nightclub.
Been there multiple times. Yes, you don't get that intimidating feeling. Inclusion, I think, is a really good word. And even the name I read somewhere where you said Elsewhere is deliberate. It's meant to imply you're not home, you're not at work, you are elsewhere.
Elsewhere, yeah. It implies this kind of whimsical experience, and obviously that's what Elsewhere. Elsewhere is very intentional. It's supposed to invokes an emotional response when you walk in. It's all the greenery and the signs and just how it's put together. So
one of the top places for selfie taking. And that's, again, you thought of that.
Very intentional. Yeah. That's the Instagram and social media clout. That's the word of mouth these days.
Digital.
So, yeah,
digital.
Exactly.
Digital. Okay. Listen to this, man. So you opened Elsewhere in 2020. At that time, did you know you were going to have a second one or wanted to have a second one?
Obviously it was going to be based on the success of the OG Elsewhere downtown, but
let me just interrupt you only because you heard correctly. He established it in 2020 in the middle of a freaking worldwide pandemic.
Yeah, we bought it January 2020 and then March 2020 happens. I'm like, "Oh, okay. This is great."
Nobody can get, we would be violating the rule right now, being this close.
But hospitality was just, decimated by COVID, but we kind of lucked out. One, because we serve food, so we were allowed to open when restaurants opened.
Right.
We were all outside, so I didn't have an occupancy load, so I didn't have to adhere to the 25, 50, 75%. And then customers just felt more comfortable being outside. And
they needed something, right? They were cabin fever at home.
Absolutely.
You had to get out. And I remember vividly your place being one of those rare exceptions where everybody could go out and do their thing. And
we kept adding, to your point, that the Instagrammable spots and things like that. We just kept adding those things. And so customers would come back and be like, "Man, every time I come here, there's something new, something different." And so we've kind of continued that trend. So like every spring or summer, we added the greenhouse this year against the river. We added the slide last year. We change out the flowers. We add new things.
Right.
So, it's fun to kind of keep updating it. And people are just like, "Wow, this place reinvents itself."
Yeah. Okay. So getting ready for Elsewhere 2, TOO, which is there an expected open date yet?
June-ish is what I'm told. So that's what we're shooting for.
So I'm going to warn you right now because I live not too far from where this new location will be on the north side, if you will. Drive 1604 all the time with all that darn construction right now. But soon, people will drive by and they'll be like, "Is that a Ferris wheel? Is that fair?" You are putting a Ferris wheel on Elsewhere 2.
Yeah. So we've got 6 acres and, I'd like to think outside the box. Obviously, like Elsewhere downtown's like a weird place. It's fun and we've got these art installations. Like right now we have 2,600 pool noodles like on the ceiling, and it's real fun. But so I knew I wanted a big, even when I did Ivy Rooftop, I had a 22-foot fake tree in the middle of the roof. And my banker at the time was like, what's this line item here? Why do we need to spend that kind of money? And I'm like, it's the centerpiece. It'll be great, I promise. And honestly, the bank said the same thing about the Ferris wheel. Like, why are we doing this? And I was like, why not? Like, it's
Why
fun. Not? Yeah. So yes, we will have a 52-foot Ferris wheel. It is being constructed in Turkey right now.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
So they're going to bring it over in pieces
Yep.
and assemble it and everything. And I'm kind of trying to think if there's even a 52-foot tall Ferris wheel in San Antonio at the moment.
I don't know how tall the one is at Fiesta, Texas.
There you go.
I'd be interested to see. But yeah.
And was there another like an option B? Like did your partner and you say, okay, it's a Ferris wheel or something else, or was it going to be the Ferris wheel?
No. I got stuck on the Ferris wheel, and I was like, it's happening. I don't care. We're making it work.
But again, I'm always fascinated by the marketing, the creative genius, these kinds of things, because, for example, like this evening is going to be, I think, a perfect picturesque time. I can already picture people being out there on the Ferris wheel or snapping selfies with that. I mean,
like to your point, like my business partner, when we put the two 15-foot giraffe topiaries at Elsewhere and the 8-foot Be Kind sign, he walked in to the bar, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna buy 15-foot giraffes, topiaries. And he's like, all right, well, one, what the hell's a topiary? But two, he's like, like, what? Why? And I was like, because just trust me, it's gonna look great. He's like, okay, well, sure.
Do you have like an arts background, or like in terms of the creative side, do you dream this stuff up?
Yeah, my creative brain just does not shut off. That's why I can't sleep at night. But I've been surrounded, like my house is like a weird art museum.
I almost want to just drive over there right now and take a look at it.
I just bought a 5-foot tall T-Rex skull. It's a museum quality T-Rex skull. My mom's like, what? She's like, why? And I was like, why not? It's cool.
Well, listen, hey, you've done well. You could have much worse vices or addictions than dinosaur bones.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you ever put something in a place and you thought it was amazing and it just fell flat and it didn't work out?
So my last nightclub, it was called Boulevard. It was a beautifully designed bar. It was this like cool kind of industrial speakeasy in the front, or bar in the front, and then behind a faux library kind of wall bookshelf. You walked in, and there was this like huge nightclub, and we had this giant wall of gold skulls and like this ornate chandelier that danced in LEDs and whatever. And it was beautiful, but it didn't take off. So
all right. We have Trina Vasquez watching from Kerrville this afternoon, and so we have people watching from different parts of the area. So hello to you guys. I'm guessing you could have put Elsewhere too in another city, another market. Maybe you've thought of that, or you've been asked to do that, but you chose to do it here in San Antonio.
Yeah. I'm partners in a couple businesses in Austin, and we were looking at Austin to do a second Elsewhere. But I'm, again, as we were talking earlier, like I'm ingrained in this city. I'm born and raised here. I've got a lot of love for the city. I'm heavily involved in the community and things that we do and trying to push the city forward. And so, and the response we've gotten from the community here has been so positive. So yeah, why not put our second one here?
Well, you are invested, that is for sure. I know you are on the Visit San Antonio Riverwalk Committee, among many other boards, and you also have a passion for primates, if you will, for animals.
Yes,
and their well-being and their care.
Yes, it is the most fulfilling thing I've ever done in my life. Here is my buddy Chobi.
So this is literally, we could not have staged this. This is. And it's primarily primates, correct? Yes. That you're very actively involved in.
It is the oldest primate sanctuary in the country, located here in town. Not many people know that it even exists. And I didn't as far as 10 years ago. I was obsessed with this 80s movie as a kid called Project X with Matthew Broderick and Helen Hunt. And the main chimp in the movie was named Virgil, and he was adorable. And so I was watching it 10 years ago and Googled what happened to Virgil. Unbeknownst to me, he lives out at Primarily Primates. So I went out there the next day with 8 bags of groceries, and I was like, I need to know everything. And so now I have a personal relationship with this chimp. His real name's Willie. And we take care of 31 chimpanzees and 250 other smaller primates.
I wonder how many primates that have appeared in movies are living in San Antonio right now.
So Willie's still out there. We used to have like 3 or 4 other ones that were in that same movie with him. They've since passed away.
Right.
But we've got entertainment chimps. So we're strictly a sanctuary, rescuing from ex-biomed, ex-pets, and ex-entertainment.
Very good.
Yeah.
We have a question coming in from a viewer here related to the new the Elsewhere 2. The question is, will the second location be a venue to rent for a special event or two? And it sounds like this person has some rent possibilities in mind.
Yes. So we are building a giant, what essentially looks like a greenhouse. It'll be an event pavilion for weddings, corporate buyouts, private events, things like that. So yeah, absolutely.
I would just love to. I mean, the way you think and everything is pretty fascinating to me. Have you translated that into anything else in your life?
Again, like I'm an art collector and an art lover, and so I dabbled in art, but I'm not good at it, I guess.
Right.
But this Elsewhere, or these venues are my creative outlet, and so if I see a blank space, it's like you walk into Elsewhere now, and you're just like, there's so much going on. It's maximalism at its best.
Right. Sensory overload.
Yeah,
as
exactly.
I say sometimes. But you make an excellent point, because I would think that's like the ultimate canvas.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely.
And you could make it however you want.
And Elsewhere 2 is a raw piece of land. So I'm just like, ooh, what can I do here?
Yeah. The possibilities. What do you do for downtime? I mean, you're so involved. You're so busy. The boards, opening up the bars and everything. What do you like to do to unwind and have fun? Or is this it?
I mean, this is kind of it. I nothing. Sit at home and watch movies with my dog. But on all these boards and community involvement and whatever, there's always, and I see you at half of them, like all the galas and all the events.
I try, man. It keeps me out of trouble.
Exactly. And again, it's good to hang out with those people and they're all my friends and we're all have the same goal of helping the city move forward.
You are a Consejo member as well, and Ray Feo, and I know we've connected there as well. But you're intentional in terms of being active and giving back to the community. Is that something that your parents taught you at a young age, or when did that come about?
Yes, my mom has always kind of instilled that in me, but as it's there, I have 2 cups, and like having a successful business and being an entrepreneur, that fills 1 cup, and like that cup being filled absolutely allows me to do this other cup.
Right.
And as Elsewhere 1 has become self-sustaining, and I've got an amazing staff. But I've got 2 women that just work their asses off for me. That run the place great. And that's allowed me to have the free time to go out and fill this other cup, and being involved, being on the Visit San Antonio board, for, representing our historic Riverwalk. Like, that's such an honor to me. Again, born and raised here, and like now I get this piece of our city to kind of help steward forward. And so, I just left the Mission Heritage Partners board meeting, and like to protect and preserve, the 4 missions that we have here in the city. So that cup is filling.
Do you think sometimes people take like the Riverwalk or the Alamo or the missions for granted?
Absolutely. I get after my friends on the north side all the time. I'm like, guys, come enjoy your city. Like, there's so much stuff going on.
Right.
There's so many events. There's such cool things. Like, one of the amazing things about San Antonio, and the superintendent park ranger just was talking about this. Like, San Antonio has such amazing culture and history, and it's one of the few cities that has preserved that history.
Yeah.
And so, I think people take for granted what the city has to offer.
Right. Can you go into Elsewhere today and just enjoy yourself, or are you constantly like looking around? What can I do better? How can or both?
That both for sure.
All right.
I walk in, and again, my staff is fantastic and runs the place beautifully. But I'm always okay, what can I do here, or picking things up and bussing tables or whatever. And but again,
he's not above that stuff. So.
No, and again, like that's why I think I'm successful in what I've done, is because I was a bar back, I was a bartender, I was a manager, and so on and so forth, so that like I I see those things, and
Yeah.
it's definitely not above or below me to do those things.
Well, one of the things I like about you is that you are very approachable. You don't care. You're obviously very successful. And it sounds like you've got some other great things ahead of you. But the way you carry yourself, you're very approachable and not holier than thou. And you could easily
Well,
sit.
thanks.
You could easily sit in your home with your art and everything, and
Right.
your T-Rex skull, and not be a nice guy all the
Yeah.
time. But that's not what you are.
No, why be kind? I've got an 8-foot sign that says "Be kind."
You literally do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna. Where did you get that sign, by the way?
A company out of California made it for me.
Okay, so when you find the T-Rex skull or the giraffe topiaries or whatever, is this an online search or you in your travels? Where do you find these things?
Some, yeah. The 15-foot giraffe topiaries came from China. Found some guy on Alibaba, and they're like, yeah, we can do that. Like I said, the Be Kind sign came from California. I'll see something on the internet or Instagram as I'm, death scrolling as myself. Right. And I'm like, oh, that looks cool. And then I'll go out on the internet and try and find it. Or, my staff and business partner and I, the mecca
of picking and
of everywhere from junk to tens of thousands of dollars worth of antiques.
Right.
And, we found some cool stuff. Like yesterday, we bought a 15-foot boat.
What impact has Central Catholic and that brotherhood, that community had on your life, your success, your business, that kind of stuff? So
this is going to be a long-winded answer. So you asked me to bring something from my childhood.
Yes.
And so when I was a freshman at Central, my sister passed away.
Oh my God.
When I was 15. So I wear her ring, little James Avery heart knot.
Oh my goodness.
I wear her ring on my pinky. And, your high school years are already, formidable years, and you got hormones going and all the things. And I was already, and again, my dad died when I was 4. So I was already dealing with that. Thank God for therapy. Been in therapy my whole life.
Yeah.
And I was, getting over that and dealing with that. And then my sister dies. I'm like, well, screw this. So I was an angry kid and a troubled kid. Was always getting into trouble. Like I said, thank God I didn't drink, because that would have given me the confidence to just do more dumb stuff.
Shoot.
But Central, at a time in my life when really nobody knew how to talk to me. Again, I give all the credit to my therapist, my mom, and Coach Ibarra. But Coach Ibarra, back to Central, really took me under his wing. And there was a coalition of teachers that wanted to kick me out. And Coach was like, look, guys, I know he's a handful, but I got him. He's a good kid. He's just going through some stuff. So, Coach really took me under his wing and helped me. And, Central was great. And, as you know, like you were saying, the brotherhood runs deep, especially, in this city. I mean, this is Central Catholic Mafia. And so we, now that I'm in my business years and an entrepreneur, an alumni is building elsewhere too for me. And some of the subs are Central grads as well. So that it's all come full circle. And they've asked me they gave me the Young Alumni Award 2 years ago.
I saw that.
And they, I've spoken to the seniors at senior lunch.
Yeah.
And the mother-son lunch. And so it's really cool to have gone through that and been this thorn in the school side when I went there.
Right.
To now coming full circle and being like, we are proud of this guy from where he was to where he's been, and give back. I'm on the student development committee for Central, and we're starting a mentorship program with the 10,000 Living Alumni. And I mean, it's really a powerful thing, and I can't say enough good things about Central.
So happy for you, because I've seen it happen. This is not lip service. I've seen it, witnessed him giving back, and all you have to do is Google search, and you'll see the award he got from Central and everything. Is that on your arm? Is that your sister right there?
Yeah, that's my sister's signature.
I noticed. I know it might be a little tricky to see there.
And this is chimpanzee DNA, which is 98% the same as ours. Things that have impacted my life.
I see that. Well, listen, again, you don't need me to tell you this. He's a very busy guy, but I'm so thrilled that he was able to give us a few minutes here today. ElsewareTexas.com is the website, by the way, if you want to find out more about the original location, and Elsewhere 2, TOO. Breaking ground in a little more than 24 hours from now. And again, soon you'll see a Ferris wheel among many other things. They're right off of 1604. I guess it's near, Pix.
Yeah,
and
we're right before
Fiesta,
Picks.
Texas, and I know Top Golf is over there, and Andretti's and some other things are over there.
Yeah.
That area.
Yep. That I-10 604 has kind of become a little entertainment corridor.
It has.
Yeah.
And they could just get that darn Cloverleaf finished.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So happy for you, man.
Thank you, brother.
Terrin Fuhrmann, ladies and gentlemen, probably on his way to another meeting or engagement here in just a little bit, but I got him long enough to do pickup lines. There's another episode in the books right there. We'll be back again very soon to tell more stories and meet more fascinating people right here. Have a great day. Bye for now.
Thanks.